y'all, I'm Gabby and I'm a wet and wet oil painter, and today I want to talk about glow-in-the-dark oil paint. Glowing oil paint is a very difficult thing to try to accomplish. So there's one product on the market that is specifically glow-in-the-dark oil paint. It's called Glow Cubed. It looks like this. Comes with 10 of these little tubes for about $100. I bought this because I wanted to try it out. Now, there's a couple problems with glow-in-the-dark oil paint, but I'm going to show you specifically the Glow Cubed. If you can kind of see it, it's just like water. And it's like that because the oil separates from the pigments. So anytime I do use this, I have to shake it very well. And it's not great stuff. So, Glow Cubed. So what do? I try to make my own. Now I tried to make my own before I had the Glow Cubed and it didn't work very well. And then I got the Glow Cubed and realized that my paint works just as well as the Glow Cubed. Not very well. So I have a couple different powders, glow-in-the-dark powders. Now I'm gonna mix starting with the red stuff so you can actually see it. But when we do the glow or attempt to do the glow part of this video, I'm going to use this yellow green because it glows the brightest, and it's tricky to get it caught on camera what it looks like. So you can mix pigment with basically one of two things. So we're going to lay these down and I'll show you how that goes. But first, let's talk about pigments in general. Now, pigments are little dots, right? Now, obviously, pigments aren't that big, but we'll use that as a reference point. Think about the smoothest paint you've ever used, and think of it as having pigments about that size. Microscopic, you can't see them, okay? Glow-in-the-dark pigments are like huge compared. And they're like that because they need to have room for light to come into them and then to bounce all over the place, okay? And that's how they glow. Now, you can get them, and these are like that. If I look closely, I can pretty much see the dots of pigment. That's how big these are. If you were to take a mortar and pestle, okay, and you were to grind up this pigment, it would no longer glow. It needs to be big or it doesn't work. So what happens when you use big pigments? Well, it becomes like sand. It becomes really, really difficult to get it to stick to the canvas. It becomes really difficult to move it around with a paintbrush at all. So I came up with a way to make it work. First, I'm going to show you what it looks like with the linseed oil. I'll bring you guys closer so you can see. Okay, so linseed oil. I have this. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of linseed oil on my knife, and I'm going to bring it down. If you ever mix paint, by the way, start with less linseed oil and then kind of go from there, because you end up needing less than you really think you're going to need. Now I have my paint put together. Now, if I put more linseed oil into it, it will get like this, where it becomes really liquidy really fast, okay? So if I don't want it to run all over the place, I put less in there. Well, the problem with it is this stuff turns back into dust, and then it crumbles off your paintings. And that's if I use a knife. Now, if I try to use a brush, it just clumps together. Long story short, it's not successful. So then what do you do when somebody asks you to do a piece and they want glow-in-the-dark oil paint? Well, I had that problem come up. and I had to figure out a solution. I tried getting it wet and then tapping powder on. I tried using my Glow Cubed. I tried a bunch of stuff. And then I looked in the back of my easel and I saw that I had this Gamblin solvent-free gel. Okay? There, now you can see it. And this is made specifically for oil painting. And it almost reminds me of like the consistency of like A&D ointment for like an antibiotic type of ointment. Okay, so there it is. That's the gel. And I probably took way more than I needed, so we'll put some of this aside. So I took this gel and I tried this out. This Gamblin solvent-free gel, by the way, is really good because it doesn't smell. A lot of the gels are really, really fumey. Okay, so now we have our gel. Now, regardless of whether you use the oil paint or you do a gel thing, you don't put it on until your painting is dry. And then your painting is dry, and then it has to go on top of a light color. If you put it on top of a dark color, you'll never see it glow. Okay? So this is the stuff mixed with linseed oil. Okay? This is the stuff mixed with gel. It's much smoother and it holds itself together much better. Oh, I suppose before I take it away, I should show you what it does with a brush. Let's take a brush I haven't used, okay? And it doesn't break up like the other stuff. So, long story short, the best way to make glow-in-the-dark paint is, instead of making it paint, make it a gel. I came across somebody who talked about doing glow-in-the-dark oil painting, and they just use like acrylic glow-in-the-dark on top of their oil after it's dried. I don't like putting any acrylic on top of oil. I don't exactly remember the reason why, but I just remember it's not something that is supposed to be done, so I don't do that. Anyway, so let's move this stuff out of the way, and let's see if we can get this stuff to glow. Alright, so now we're back, and we have our glowing stuff. So, let's see. Grab a brush. This is the gel over here. Okay. And you can see if I gently brush it, it kind of moves and does what it needs to do. I'll grab another brush, and now here is the stuff mixed with linseed oil. So as you can see, it clumps. And the problem is, with how it clumps, so it falls off the canvas as well. So, if you're ever going to consider making glow-in-the-dark oil paint, I would suggest that instead of trying to use linseed oil, or, sorry, Glow Cubed, instead of using Glow Cubed, I would suggest that you use some Gamblin solvent-free gel. It'll hold it onto the canvas better, and it will last much longer. Again, it has to be put over a light background, and it has to be put on after you're done. Depending on what color you choose as a pigment, some will be brighter than others, so just keep that in mind. And I guess don't be afraid to try to take it on, but do know that it definitely comes with its challenges. So anyways, I'm Gabby. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions or comments, just put them in the comment section of the video and I will happily try to address them. Until next time, happy painting!